What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals.
If Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages.
Migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI defraud.
Honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people.
And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them Republican.
No judge looked at it.
And said
they
there was
said
no
we didn't have
widespread
standing.
fraud.
That's the other thing.
There was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
Fortunately, we had moderators who were clearly biased, who were constantly fact-checking Donald Trump. None of these kind of whoppers that the vice president was saying, and none of her failure to really explain that, answer that first question, that very, very critical first question. They simply sat there on the sidelines and allowed that to pass.
When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America.
She was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute. I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out. We have a president that we don't even know if he's... Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
they
here...
threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president? But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
Your time is up.
And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate, because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border, because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The president of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
The debate just exposed everything that's wrong with modern politics in 2024. As you saw from the intro, I wanted to focus on the moderators and the fact check, because you know me. I'm speaking as an independent voter. I'm not going to speak as a conservative. I'm not going to speak as someone who's critical of the media. I'll speak just as an independent voter, a right-leaning independent voter. One of the problems I had with this debate is the fact that it wasn't impartial. It wasn't impartial at all. And it triggered, you guys know me. I have trust issues when it comes to the media. So the media already has a stain to me as an informed voter of bias, because I know 97% of U.S. journalists are registered Democrats. So when I see these people fact-checking Donald Trump, and I do not see the same attempts to fact-check Kamala Harris, it triggers me automatically that I cannot trust the moderators to be impartial. And it seems to me many people who are online on Twitter, moderate to high-informed voters, spot this immediately. Now, my only concern is low-information voters. How are they perceiving the fact checks? And this is the narrative game that I'm talking about with the media. Malcolm X said it himself. The most dangerous entity in the Western Hemisphere is the media. The media can make the innocent guilty and the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. They're controlling perception. So they try to put this perception on Donald Trump that he's unfactual, he's a liar. Kamala Harris said nothing but facts and truths, when that is a lie. The Charlottesville thing, we all know that's a lie. He did not say that. And it wasn't about anti-Semitism that they were criticizing these people. It was about racism. But you see how she lied about that too. The very premise of that too. And it's so ridiculous to me that I came to this debate. I wanted, some substantive conversation. And the moderators talked about crap that I didn't really care about. They didn't mention inflation at one time, which I think is one of the most important issues. When you're talking about the economy, that's the most important thing that I, as a voter, want to hear. How holding Kamala Harris accountable for inflation. And there's many attempts, like reviewing some of the clips that I've seen online, and I'll review it here as well on this video. Donald Trump attempted to take the conversation there, and there was no follow-up. Like, when they do the follow-up, they pick at the most insignificant thing that Donald Trump said, and they ask Kamala Harris to respond to that. Like, come on. And Kamala Harris has never directly answered any questions about some of the prompts that the moderators gave. The moderators gave some good questions, but Kamala Harris word salad her way out of them. She didn't directly answer any of the questions. And one of my biggest concerns with Kamala Harris, and I remember if you look at my preview of the debate before the debate happened, I mentioned that Kamala's job here is to clarify her position, and she did not do that at all. Like, everything goes about Trump is about Trump. And then she tried to make it seem like, oh my God, we want to move a way forward. A way forward from who? You're the current administration. If people vote for you, we're not doing anything new. We're just going to get more of the same. Donald Trump pointed this out, and no follow-up, no press from the moderators. But they asked for specifics for Donald Trump. They asked no specifics for Kamala Harris. Trump asked some very good follow-ups. Hey, why you don't ask her about late-term abortions, and would she support that? No, they didn't. And I think one of the best topics Trump did personally was on abortion. He clarified, hey, look, I'm not for an abortion ban. And the media still asks, oh, is Donald Trump for an abortion? The media don't pay attention. They don't care what this man says. They just want to create a narrative around him. And I got a clip to show you that proves that they were not listening to the debate.
I think that it's so preposterous for the media to focus so much on an issue where Donald Trump has been crystal clear, and not on the fact that people can't afford groceries and housing because of Kamala Harris's policies. This election is actually quite simple, and Kamala Harris and apparently the media would like to distract Americans on issues, by the way, that Donald Trump's been crystal clear about, but they're not talking nearly enough. This debate didn't talk nearly enough about the fact that Americans are struggling because they can't afford groceries, they can't afford housing, and a lot of their kids are dying of fentanyl overdoses because Kamala Harris has let the Mexican drug cartels take over the southern border.
I would say is he brought up this misleading false claim that you yourself have talked about in recent days about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, abducting people's pets and eating them, which officials there have said is not true. You yourself acknowledged it may be false on Twitter. You still told people to keep spreading it. But Trump just amplified it to tens of millions of people who were watching. Why push something that's not true?
Well, first of all, city officials have not said it's not true. They've said they don't have all the evidence.
They said they have no evidence.
We've heard from a number of constituents on the ground, Caitlin, who both firsthand and secondhand reports saying this stuff is happening. So they very clearly, meaning the people on the ground dealing with this, think that it is happening. And I think that it's important for journalists to actually get on the ground and uncover this stuff for themselves when you have a lot of people saying, my pets are being abducted, or geese at the city pond are being abducted and slaughtered right in front of us. This is crazy stuff. And again, whether those exact rumors turn out to be mostly true, somewhat true, whatever the case may be, Caitlin, this town has been ravaged by 20,000 migrants coming in. Healthcare costs are up. Housing costs are up. Communicable diseases like HIV and TB have skyrocketed in this small Ohio town. This is what Kamala Harris's border policies have done. And I think it's interesting, Caitlin, that the media didn't care about the carnage wrought by these policies until we turned it into a meme about cats. And that speaks to the media's failure to care about what's going on in these communities. If we have to meme about it to get the media to care, we're going to keep on doing it because the media should care about what's going on.
I saw you say.
One of the biggest problems I have with the mainstream media is that if they don't have confirmation of something, they automatically deny that it is not happening. Like, make it make sense. Oh, official says that's a fallacy of authority. Just because the authority says that something is not the case doesn't mean that something isn't the case. They still have to make a case for that. But look at this. Woman arrested for allegedly killing cats, eating them in front of neighbors from the local news. But like JD Vance pointed out, our media does not have any curiosity because these people are about narratives. They're not about telling you what's the truth. They're not about informing you on what's actually going on. They're sitting here trying to essentially help Kamala Harris win this election. I'm honestly thinking this as an independent voter. You asking about questions, like imagine that. In the debate, Trump already clarified, I don't know how many times, he's not associated with Project 2025. You can't find him on his website. You can't find it on his website. A think tank created it. So if a progressive think tank, let's say there was a progressive think tank, and they decided to make a policy platform making suggestions to what Kamala Harris should do if she becomes president, should Donald Trump be allowed to tether her to that progressive think tank's plan because they saying, oh, look, Kamala could be doing this for our economy? These people be screaming that's not the case. That's not her policy. But you don't want to believe Trump about his policy. Like, make it make sense. If Kamala Harris trying to make the case that you can't trust Donald Trump about his allegiance to Project 2025, then why should I trust Kamala Harris when she is flip-flopping on a lot of these issues? Should I not do the same thing to her? Should I not interpret the same? Because at the end of the day, y'all both are presidential candidates, so I take y'all both equally. What one do, I don't expect a person to be better or worse than the other. That's how that's how I would look at the debate, right? And here, and then I'm going to give some snippets because it's annoying what the media is doing right now. So here's one example of what I thought could have been a great a way for the media to hold Harris accountable, but didn't.
Will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer
That's
the
problem.
question? Would you
because
veto?
Under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question. Would you veto?
You could do abortions in the...
Answer the question with the veto. He's not president. You are. Not president, sorry. You're vice president. You're in the current administration. And this is one thing that pissed me off about the debates too. The moderators are acting like Trump is the incumbent. And she's not at all a part of the current administration.
7th month, the 8th month, the 9th month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said, we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration.
These people are ABC is not a credible news site, bro. I don't know. Because the way they carry them, I'm like, yo, are these actual journalists? Like, are they really journalists? So here's the article that kind of debunked what Kamala Harris was talking about. Under Governor Tim Walz, babies born alive in botched abortions were left to die. Then he removed reporting requirements. That gives an inclination to me as a voter that, hey, this stuff could happen and it would not be caught. So this idea that, oh no, that is not happening. Abortions under this month is not happening. This stupid fact check that they try to do, it's a failed fact check. Right? And many people are seeing it, at least the people online. ABC News failed to fact check Kamala Harris after she falsely claimed that Trump called neo-Nazis in Charlottesville very fine people. The claim was even fact checked by Snopes. ABC has spent much of the time fact checking Trump but refused to do the same for Harris. But then you want to pretend that we think you're impartial, right? The post-birth thing, and Trump was quoting somebody, but somehow they took it as if Trump was trying to make a statement of fact. And this is the kind of analysis you're going to have to do to the mainstream media. Here's a radio show that Donald Trump was talking about.
There was a very contentious committee hearing yesterday when Fairfax County Delegate Kathy Tran made her case for lifting restrictions on third trimester abortions as well as other restrictions now in place. And she was pressed by a Republican delegate about whether her bill would permit an abortion even as a woman is essentially dilating, ready to give birth. And she answered that it would permit an abortion at that stage of labor. Do you support her measure and explain her answer?
Yeah, and I wasn't there, Julie, and I certainly can't speak for Delegate Tran, but I will tell you first thing I would say is this is why decisions such as this should be made by providers, physicians, and the mothers and fathers that are involved. There are, when we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother, with the consent of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way. And it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities, there may be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example,
So you get the gist. Like Trump was quoting something that actually happened, and this is the problem many people are noticing with the mainstream media. Kamala gets no fact checks. Kamala gets to speak for her as long as she wants. Kamala gets softball questions with no pushball. Kamala get handed every opportunity to attack her opponent. This is rigged, right? They're asking stuff about, oh yeah, the tariffs, Trump's tariffs. Who cares about Trump's tariffs? And this was something from the get-go. Moderators just fact-checked Trump like Candy Crawley did to Mitt Romney in 2012. Although accurate, it jeopardized her impartiality in the eyes of the viewer. I stand by the statement. What this debate came down to was pretty much the closing argument. And I think Trump had a great closing argument that I want to highlight, and then I'll go into more of the highlights of the debate.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in
See, she's in the closing argument is it would have been good if she was able to clarify what those things meant, how she was going to go about it. But the moderators they didn't do their job. They didn't ask for any specifics from Kamala Harris. They didn't ask any follow-ups. They didn't press her on anything. So as a voter, I'm still not clear what the hell an opportunity economy means. All it sounded like was slogans. And this is the problem, media. This is the problem that a lot of these journalists have, is that they're sitting here pretending that it's their job to sit here and determine how you perceive these things instead of actually creating opportunities for the American voter to be more informed about what the hell these candidates actually stand for.
And what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve.
This is the one thing that really hurt her argument when she tried to attack Donald Trump on foreign policy. And she said, oh, Putin would love to have you. And then Donald Trump pointed out, well, Putin endorsed you. And before you came in, Putin endorsed Joe Biden. So it seems like he wants your butt in there. And last time I checked, he didn't create any wars. You did. Because at the end of the day, 3 days before supposedly Russia invaded, you went out as an ambassador to talk in Ukraine. And I was like, whoa, Donald Trump just exposed her. Is the media going to follow up? Is the moderators going to follow up on that? I want to know more about that. Let's move on. Let's go. They're quick to move on to the next topic. I'm like, what the hell they're doing? What are you doing? Like, what is it? Like, this is what's wrong with modern politics. The media is like the rotten apple in modern politics.
Including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay?
Well,
and that's the kind of president we need right now.
You're Californian. So most of the time, if I'm going on a battle of probabilities, you're talking to, I digress, guys.
Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans. and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
So you got that, right? So we're going to go with Trump real quick.
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5.
Literally, Trump's closing statement was something that, like, I felt like he was a voter. Like, he was like me. Like, it was like, hey, like, these are questions I think independents will be asking. And I hate the fact that the media is not focusing on that.
3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughing. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
That was one of the annoying parts, too, that the mainstream media seems to not wanting to focus on as well, is the fact that migrants are becoming...
So I think you've heard...
Migrants has become such an issue in this country, and it seemed like they don't even want to acknowledge that, which was annoying to me. I was like, wow, you don't even want to acknowledge that? It's so ridiculous what the mainstream media is willing to do, right? So in this clip, I'm going to show you a clip of what I thought was one of Trump's greatest takedowns in the debate, and I already felt like, yo, this is what needs to be said, but what I think the moderators have done is that when Trump had a good moment, they did not want to follow up after that good moment because they didn't want that to continue. I felt like what the moderators was doing was disrupting. Every time Trump was starting to hit his stride, disrupt. It happens every time. So let's look at this clip that I thought was the greatest takedown in the debate. Let's take a look.
And policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump.
If you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. but I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
Yeah, that's why I laugh about foreign policy. President Trump is absolutely right. You can look this up. Kamala went to Munch, Germany, and then just days later, Putin invaded Ukraine after her strategic blunder. Don't believe me? Check the dates. February 19th, 2022, remarks by Vice President Harris at the Munch Security Conference. And then 2 years in, Russia's war on Ukraine continues to pose threat to global security. Russian invasion and unprovoked war on the aggression against Ukraine is today not just an assault on Ukrainian freedom and liberty, but also a threat to our global order, says the U.S. officials 2 years ago today on February 24th. Some helpful signs here is that she lost support for the economy based on a poll that CNN just did. So it seemed people were agreeing with me because the very first question, to me, she lost the debate. To me, she looked unauthentic, honest, unaccountable when they asked about the economy. And the minute she did not answer, I thought she should have lost some support, and then Trump actually gained some support according to the economy. So these are some good news. ABC hosts tried to fact check Trump on sarcasm while letting Kamala tell the both sides Charlottesville lie with zero pushback. These people are Democrat propagandists pretending to be journalists because they say, just for your information, when there is asymmetrical lying, there will be asymmetrical fact checking. And we all saw it. Charlottesville hoax, lie. She lied about the abortion ban, lie. Project 2025 being associated with Donald Trump, lie. This is our media, guys. This is our media, right? They wonder why there's no trust in them.
We still have to have a controlled border, a secure border, because, yeah, we've had a lot of people going through the border illegally. My family went through a long process to get here legally, so I feel that it's unfair for hundreds of thousands to get here without problems, and then for the federal government to help them out. We've also lost Americans because so many illegals were letting in, like the young boy from Ohio who had killed by illegal immigrants. We still have to have a controlled border, a secure border.
Not only killed, raped. Like, it's so baffling how the media can just, oh, that didn't happen. And then the media let her lie about gun bans. She allegedly says she's a gun owner. And this is the same, and this is the funny part. Here's the same dude from ABC asking her about a gun ban.
In recent days, former Vice President Biden has said about executive orders, some really talented people are seeking the nomination. They said, I'm going to issue an executive order. Biden saying there's no constitutional authority to issue that executive order when they say I'm going to eliminate assault weapons, saying you can't do it by executive order any more than Trump can do things when he says he can do it by executive order. Does the vice president have a point there?
Some things you can, many things you can't.
Let's let the senator answer.
Well, I mean, I would just say, hey, Joe, instead of saying no, we can't, let's say yes, we can.
Let's be constitutional. We got a constitution.
And yes, we can.
In recent days, former vice.
So the fact that he didn't, I don't know if he had amnesia, he forgot she said it. Like, this is what I'm talking. This is what we're talking about, bro. I want to get in some CNN commentary here, and then I'll wrap up the video. So here's Scott Jennings giving his analysis of what happened last night.
If you want to hang your hat on something for Trump, it's the economic numbers. I said I thought he won the first 15 minutes. It was largely about the economy. And so there's still a built-in belief by most voters that it's been mismanaged by Biden and Harris. And so if you're Trump and you're trying to take something positive out of this, it's that built-in vibe of they just didn't do a good job on it. You have to understand that and not get away from it. Number two, obviously, millions of people watch this. A lot of people didn't watch it, and a lot of those people who didn't watch it and may see nothing about it are some of the people that Donald Trump's campaign needs to turn out. The disengagers, they're not going to be persuaded by this. That's still a big part of the Trump strategy, and I don't think they'll be moved.
The debate, man, it really felt like a letdown. That's why I think that's the sentiment that I'm feeling right now. It was a huge letdown. Like, we had expectations for Trump to be able to capitalize on some of the missed opportunities. Many people say Trump missed opportunities, but also I felt that the moderators didn't really give an opportunity for those to further expound upon some of the critiques that Donald Trump bring up. It was so ridiculous. Donald Trump bring up a lot of good points. Hey, do you support late-term abortions? They didn't press her on that, but they wanted to ask. They wanted to get a yes or no question about Donald Trump if he can do an abortion ban. But Donald Trump highlighted how it's not even possible to codify abortion, and it's not even possible to. There's no point of asking me that question because there won't be. It's not a federal issue anymore. It's a state's issue. Trump clarified his position. And I was like, great answer. Time to move on. No, they kept pressing him on it. And I'm like, yo, that's an interesting format. 3 versus 1. I think this is properly capturing the sentiment that many people felt with Kamala Harris speaking and the moderators helping. So let's take a look.
This debate is so hard to watch when you are very clear on the fact that Kamala started it gaslighting Americans. She's been gaslighting Americans the entire time. She's picking the things that she knows you're scared of. You see, she's bringing up January 6th. She's not telling the whole story. She brings up the C word, the pandemic. She brings that up, knowing that's not his fault. He didn't start it. Matter of fact, I was in Europe the November before, and it was actually in Europe where I was at the time. It's really sad that Americans, I see my friends on TikTok on Facebook who are like, oh my God, she's cooking him. Oh my God, she's like doing amazing. She's lying in her amazingness. And let me tell you, you guys are stupid enough to believe her. All you got to do is a little bit of fact checking, but no, that's not what you're going to do. You're going to automatically call him a lie because the media and them have helped you believe that he was a lie. You ain't going to fact check it. You ain't going to look. You're not going to look. You are literally just going to automatically believe him. But are you noticing that all she keeps leaning on is this is why I'm going to be better because I don't incite the things that he do and I'm bringing us to.
Yeah, she's trying to make it about personality when I'm looking for policy, and she don't speak to a voter like me, right? And the game, I guess, the play is how many Americans focus on optics, focus on superficial stuff like looks, appearances, personality, right? Even though Kamala's whole entire personality seems fake to me, but whatever. You want to vote for a real person, or you want to vote for some contrived actor like Kamala Harris? Because that's what her facial expressions told me. I said, look at this actor right here. It was distracting at times. So I had to like literally just look at Trump when he's talking because the faces she make was distracting. But I digress.
Together, baby, that is not giving me whole policies. What are you going to do? What are you able to do? Because everything that you're able to do as a VP, which also means you hold the most important seat in the Senate, you can do as president. As a matter of fact, the truth is you got a little bit more power now with the seat in Senate you have. And you're not under the telescope, the light like the president is, and yet you're not doing anything. I just cannot believe this debate. It is so hard to watch.
If you turn into this debate, you wanted to know how will Kamala lower grocery bills? How will Kamala fix the sky-high housing prices? How will Kamala secure the border? You're still left with these questions. Her strategy was to focus on superficials, not substantive. That's the wrap up of the debate, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, what you guys thought about the debate. I think I could have done a little bit more clips, but I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on it as an independent voter. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section below. How you think Donald Trump did? How you think Kamala Harris did? Trump still looked more favorably in the economy, so that's a bright spot about the aftermath of the debate. So it seemed like Donald Trump did land some key points. It's just the moderators, to me, disrupted the flow too much. In a way to kind of seem like shield Kamala Harris. And I think that was the number one problem that I brought up in my preview of the debate, is that one reason why I won't vote for Kamala Harris and I will vote for Donald Trump is that Donald Trump will be the candidate that will be held most accountable when he doesn't do something. right? While Kamala Harris, it seems like if she becomes president, the media will be all at arms trying to protect her and her image like they're doing right now in the debate. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.